just indicate, Dr. Gabriel, if you can hear me?
Yes, Ms. Bill, I can hear you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, and I hope all the attendees can also hear me. Welcome to today's workshop with the Research Capacity Development Unit at the University of Johannesburg. And today's workshop is titled ORCID and Researcher IDs. And my name is Kokezo, and I will be your moderator for today's session. And just to notify you that this session is being recorded, and I've already clicked on the recording button. And I would also like to thank Dr. Gabriel for taking his time to prepare and come and present this session today. Before I can introduce Dr. Gabriel to all the attendees, I would like to just go over some housekeeping rules just to remind ourselves and some of the important information. And so for the housekeeping rules, if you do have questions during the presentation, you can raise your hand and I will then indicate to the presenter to address your question. And you can also type your question in the chat box. I will also indicate it to the presenter to address your question. And also this session, as I've mentioned, is being recorded, and the recording as well as the presentation slides will be requested from the presenter, and both of these will be uploaded on our Moodle community by the end of the week. And also there will be a feedback survey that is pasted on the chat. So please take some time to complete the feedback survey to let us know if this workshop was useful and how we can improve in the future, as well as to provide some kind words to our facilitators for their hard work. And this is also used for the facilitator in LCD reporting. And also when you complete the feedback survey, you will get the certificate of attendance. And also please make sure that when you are completing the feedback survey, you put in the correct information so that when we generate the certificates of attendance, we generate with the correct names and all the information. And also just to announce to everyone that we will be hosting a 3-minute thesis competition on the 29th of August, which is next week, Friday. So please register to become an online audience member. There are games to be played and even for the online audience. So please you register and just to see how other people are presenting. So without further ado, I will then introduce our facilitator to who is the we are most familiar with him by now, but I'll just read his bio. So PhD in Economic and Management Sciences within Dr. Gabriel,
sorry for interrupting, but it seems like we are losing you in terms of sound. So we don't hear you well. Maybe possibly it's internet connection. Maybe just kindly check if your cable is connected well as well.
Okay, thank you. Am I audible now?
Yes, now we can hear you. Yeah, but I think we heard what you were saying, but it was not really very clear.
Okay, apologies for that. I'll continue to read Dr. Gabriel's bio. So Dr. Gabriel Munyera holds a PhD in Economic and Management Sciences with International Trade from Northwest University and is currently enrolled in the postgraduate diploma in research supervision at the University of Johannesburg. With over a decade of teaching experience and a strong publication record, he has authored and co-authored book chapters and a number of articles in top-tier accredited peer-reviewed journals. He actively reviews for reputable journals and has received multiple awards for academic excellence. Dr. Munyera completed his postdoctoral research fellowship at the University of Johannesburg and currently serves as a research capacity development specialist at the UJ's postgraduate school, supporting postgraduate students and researchers in academic writing and publication. His research interest includes trade policy, export promotion, globalization, foreign direct investment, regional integration in Africa, market accessibility measurements, and 4IR trade-related research. I will then hand over to Dr. Gabriel to proceed with the presentation. Over to you, Dr. Gabriel.
Ms. Pila, thank you so much for the introduction. So my task for today is to facilitate the workshop on ORCID and researcher IDs. I'm going to focus specifically on two. I think the ORCID ID is one that most researchers, we are familiar about it, but we also talk about the researcher ID from Clarivate as well. But we also have other researcher IDs as well. Your Google Scholar profile, that's a researcher ID. We also have the sci-fi profiles and so on. Some of them we'll talk about them as we proceed with the presentation. I'm really honored to see the number of participants who have joined to listen to this topic. I didn't really think it's a very it's important topic, but remember, anything in research, anything that builds it sort of contributes to building your profile as a scholar, your profile as a researcher. It is of significance and worth to talk about. So from this, I sort of came up with a sub theme of enhancing academic identity and research visibility. So I think because of technological advancements and also just the era that we are living with, we can see that the research landscape is fast evolving, and it's very, very important that you establish a clear and verifiable academic identity. That has become a very important aspect, just more than before. And now we have a lot of researchers. I think if you go on Google Scholar, for example, just type in a topic, you'll see that there's a lot of publications that will be published around that area. So we have thousands of researchers publishing across multiple platforms, and it's very easy for your work as a researcher to be misattributed, overlooked, or lost in the crowd, because of there's a lot of publications, thousands of publications across different platforms. You can also be even misidentified. Your work can be misidentified within these vast numbers of publications that I'm talking about. So it's now it have become like very very important that you use these unique digital identifiers like ORCID, for example, that I'm talking about, the Web of Science Research ID. Then we have other. This is from Clarivate. Then this is the two that I'll focus on in the course of the presentation for today. But we also talk about just showing you the Google Scholar profile, the sci-fi profile as well. Some Google Scholar, I talked about some of these when we're talking about when we talked about your footprint, your online footprint, so having your own personal website, and we talked about these platforms that you can use for you to have your own personal website, like Google Scholar, ResearchGate, Academia, and so on. So in other words, I'm saying what I'm saying is that it's important for us to explore, how this ORCID as a tool, how the research ID as well as a tool strengthen your academic profile, improve your discoverability, as well as support your career progression. So I'm really honored to see quite an audience, gathering with us or joining us, on this online platform for us to converse on this very important topic that have a strong bearing on the discoverability of our research, including even the citations that will be resulting from the research that will be disseminating in different different platforms. So this is the focus of the presentation. I'll just introduce for us to know what is this research ID, why is it important, what is ORCID, why is ORCID important, including the the researcher ID from the Web of Science from Clarivate. We'll talk about it as well, looking at what it is, what is it important. Then from there, I will work with you on how you create your ORCID ID. If you do not have an ORCID ID, but I think maybe majority of us might be having it, but some might not even be knowing what is the significance of having an ORCID ID, what is the importance of having that. Because I remember when I had my ORCID ID, I was still doing honors at Northwest University, and we were just sort of forced to have one. We were told that every student must be having an ORCID ID. So that's how I ended up with one. It is not like a choice that I made that I understand the importance of it and let me have it. I think I had it before I even had a single publication. So we'll talk about that. How do you create your ORCID ID, as well as the creating your Web of Science account as well, offer some strategic tips, then the links to both the ORCID website as well as the Web of Science website as well. Then we can open the floor for an open discussion. But if you have a question along the way, then just raise your virtual hand. We will unmute your mic, then you can ask your question. I will be happy. I'll be glad to address the question. So when we talk of researcher identity,
Dr. Gabriel,
yes.
Can I just disturb? You're not sharing any presentation at the moment. We cannot see anything.
Okay, let me reshare again. Let me reshare it. Okay. Just let me know if you can now see this the screen that I'm sharing with you. Just an indication from both yourself, Ms. Pila, and as well as the participants.
Yes, we can see the presentation. The participants can also just raise some thumbs up to just confirm.
Let me. Okay, I got an indication from the participants. Okay, thank you for that. So okay, so I was basically just introducing the topic and just talking about the significance of the topic, and mentioned that I have sub-themed these two: enhancing academic identity and research visibility. I also opened by stressing the importance of having a researcher identity, as sort of a contributor to your visibility and the discoverability of the research that you are disseminating, or the research that you intend the audience to reach your audience that you are targeting. Then this was the outline of the presentation, and I've also said that if you have any question along the way, you do not have to wait for the open discussion segment. You can also ask just raise your virtual hand, we'll unmute you, and you can ask your question. Then now I was now introducing what it means when we talk of researcher identity, why research identity matters in academia. Why is it something that is important for us? So I think from the opening statement that I provided, we can envision or see that we having a research ID ensure that you get proper attribution for your work. Right, I've mentioned that sometimes, because there's many publications that are out there, and your publication can be lost, within that those thousands and thousands of articles or of publications, and in some cases, the attribution can even go to someone else, not you. You can even lose the attribution of the work. The work cannot be linked to you, but end up being linked to someone else. And it's also a way of building a reliable academic reputation as well, facilitating tracking and evaluation of research output for promotions. If you are part of the working, as a in an academic field, for funding, for collaborations as well. And most importantly, the issue of visibility and discoverability of your work globally. So it's very important for you to be on at least two of these research ID platforms. But there are, remember, some common challenges that we find in researcher identity as well. There's an issue of name ambiguity. Okay, we have some common names or some other names that even sometimes you can even change. Some people change their names as well. Not a good practice, but it does happen. We remember, there are those names that are common, like maybe, let me say, maybe like John Smith. There are many John Smiths, isn't it? So you find that name is common, including the surname as well. So if there is no research identity, then your work can be attributed to a wrong John Smith, and that in a way your work can be confused with that of others. The name changes, like I said, not a good practice in academia, but especially for on the female side, where on marriage, like for example, then they change their surnames. So that is the change of identity that actually happens. So as some of those factors can lead to a change in the name. That could be marriage, cultural reasons that disrupt the continuity of the research that you are doing. But if you had a researcher ID, then your work is linked to you through the research ID itself. Then multiple institutional affiliations as well. We see that as researchers, some they have they work at different universities. Some they are appointed, in other universities for research purposes, in research centers or in other countries. And if you do not have a persistent research ID, it can be hard to link all the outputs across the institutions to you, right? So it's one of the important, including the issue of inconsistent citation records as well. We have different journals and we publish in different journals. Your work is indexed on different databases, and those databases, sometimes they may even spell the names differently or record the initials inconsistently. So for especially for those with the initials, you might find that some of your papers do not even have the initials. Some of your papers have initials. Some of the papers have full names. So all that can lead to some sort of a fragmented publication record, which in turn affect the visibility and the metrics of your research. When I talk of metrics, I'm talking about issues like citation, the H index, the I10 index, the associated with Google Scholar for example. So it is very important that we make use of unique and persistent identifiers. So like the ORCID that I'm talking about, and also the researcher ID from Clarivate or Web of Science, and other research IDs as well, including your profiles of Google Scholar, ResearchGate, and academia, and so on, sci-fi included as well. So in a way, your publications will be automatically linked to you, right? So both grants, data sets, and so on, anything that you do as a researcher is linked to you correctly. So in other words, that supports accurate evaluation, collaboration, and funding applications. So the ORCID, for example, including the research ID for Clarivate or Web of Science, these are sort of globally recognized persistent identifiers for researchers, which are free, right? So what is ORCID? Like I said, I'm going to focus on ORCID and the research ID, but I'll introduce others as well, that some other platforms that you can be on, because we spoke about those platforms already on our previous workshops that you can access on our model communities. But what is it that we call the ORCID ID? You know, so some pronounce it, some they say it's ORCID, some they say ORCID. Me, I say ORCID. It just depends on what you want to call it. At the end of the day, it's sort of an open researcher and contributor ID. That's what it means when we say ORCID. So it's just an abbreviation for open researcher and contributor ID, which is the sort of it's internationally recognized. It's an international initiative that gives researchers a unique identity number. Okay, so that's my number for, by the way, the one that I've included, a 16-digit unique alphanumeric code. So mine is that one, 0000003295700X. So if you take this and you paste in your browser, my profile is the one that will come up. So every researcher who register for to have an ORCID ID is given this special code, this 16-digit digit code. So the code is unique to you. So, like for example, this one is unique to me. If you type it, if you paste it in the in your browser, then it will go right to my profile. So that ensures that we, readers, ourselves as researchers, we are not confused with anyone else, even if you share the same name. But you won't share the alphanumeric code, right? So it's free. I've already alluded to that. It's global, non-profit. It's a permanent identifier for researchers. So once you sign up and you have the code, it's a permanent code, unless something happens. Remember, this is, with technology as well, we cannot be certain that it will exist forever, but we are, sort of, there is a high degree of certainty that this will be a sort of a permanent identifier for your research, for yourself as a researcher, and all the research that you do will be linked to this identifier. So in other words, once you have it, it stays with you permanently throughout your career. And your digital name identifier that you can use, you can actually use it across the whole of your career. So that's the point that I'm trying to just emphasize, so it's sort of a digital signature for all your research activities, whether articles, grants, databases, any kind of research endeavor or activity that you undertake. If you include your ORCID ID there, then it will be linked to you. So in other words, you can use it everywhere, in journal submissions, in funding applications, on the institutional systems. Even if you change your name, your institution, your country, your ORCID ID, it will still represent your research identity. Right. So I'm stressing more on ORCID because we use it. I think in most institutions they use it, and the more we also use it, the more the system also is strengthened as well. Right. So you will see at the end, I will close by encouraging that we must all register and have an ORCID ID. What is the importance of the ORCID ID? So I think some of the importance I've already touched on, the issue of distinguishing you as a researcher, ensuring that your work is correctly credited to you, even if your name changes or is written differently in publications. Right. So like I've said, sometimes your name can be written in full if you're having a middle name. Right. So still, the research will be linked to you with your ORCID ID. Then issue of reliable connections as well. When you are on ORCID, it also connects your publications, grants, and institutional affiliations in one place, making it easier for others to see the contributions that they are making in the field. It saves time as well, because once your profile is set up, you don't need to repeatedly fill in personal or professional details for journals, grant applications, or databases. So for those who have submitted papers before, if you have an ORCID ID, most platforms, they'll ask you to generate the information, taking it from your ORCID ID. So if you just put your ORCID ID, it will automatically populate some other sections where you have provided the information on ORCID. So it also boosts the visibility as well, by improving how easily other researchers, funders, and institutions can find and recognize the work that you are doing. It's interoperable, meaning that the way that ORCID works with publishers, university, and funding agencies worldwide, it links your research across systems in a manner that is actually seamless. Okay, so across all the systems, it will link wherever your research is and your ID appears in that research, it will link it to you. And the issue of persistence and enduring as well, like I said, it stays with you for life. Even if you move from one institution to the other, if you change your name, due to other cultural reasons, marriage, and so on, or even if you switch research fields, your research will still be linked with you. So in other words, it's also researcher controlled, in the sense that it's you as the researcher who decide what information is visible and who can access or add data to your ORCID profile. You see, when we are talking about how that profile can be set up, that you can actually determine that this publications or your profile who must be able to see what you would have input on the profile itself, whether public or private, and so on. And above all, it's free and very inclusive in the sense that anyone can register for an ORCID ID, and no affiliation with a specific university or institution is required. If you have an affiliation, then that's good. But if you do not have an affiliation, that is not a sort of a requirement for you to be on the system. Then the Web of Science Research ID. So this one also is an identifier that is provided by Clarivate, or Clarivate is the Web of Science, right? It also assigns a unique ID to each researcher to link their publication in Web of Science. But this is not now, it's only linking within the Web of Science itself. So it also helps to accurately calculate citation metrics, such as the total citations that they are having, the H index, and the impact of that research is making. So in a way, it prevents confusion as well caused by common or similar researcher names, right? Just like the ORCID one. But there's also it's integrated with Publon's or Web of Science researcher profiles. So if you have a profile, for you to be able to be registered as well on Research ID, you must create a profile on Web of Science. Then or create a profile on Publons. Then it is sort of integrated with that. So it's documented, recognized peer review and editorial contributions. So if you are an editor, or also if you are a peer reviewer as well, it also acknowledge that. So in a way, the researchers, they can complete sort of create a comprehensive profile that includes publications, citation metrics, peer reviews, and any editorial activity that you would have undertaken. For those who would get an opportunity to become editors for journals or any other publications in the future, or who are already doing it now. So the focus is on metrics and peer review, unlike the ORCID, which is a general research identifier. The researcher ID, it focused on tracking research outputs and evaluating the academic impact. So that is those H index and other metrics, citation metrics, So in a way, it highlights your contributions to peer review. It also demonstrates engagement in scholarly service and as a way of checking quality control as well. Right? The benefits of being on the researcher, of using the Web of Science researcher ID include accurate tracking, enhance the visibility, credibility in evaluations, and the issue of integration. When we talk of integration, we say it's also linked to your ORCID ID as well. So in other words, it's connecting your Web of Science publications to a broader research identity as well. Because remember, the research ID is for Web of Science, but it's linked to your ORCID, so that what is on any Web of Science publication that you have is also seen globally as well, because the ORCID ID is a global global access identity. Then so that integration, it actually ensures that your work is synchronized across platforms and reduce duplication of effort when updating profiles or submitting manuscripts. So once you put ORCID, then it's also accessible on the Web of Science. Then if you submit on Web of Science, then it's also recorded as well on the ORCID. So that actually sort of support consistent and comprehensive record keeping of your academic contributions. So in terms of credibility in evaluations, now we're talking of citation metrics, total citations, H index, the journal impact, which are automatically generated and linked to your researcher ID profile if you have it. So that is the kind of data that can be also used for promotion, for grant, for award applications. In a way, it can be evidence that demonstrates the impact and the reach of the research that you are doing, including issues of peer review activity as well that are checked through Publons. They also add evidence of scholarly service, which is often considered in academic evaluations as well. It's important that we also review for others as scholars, because when you send your work out to submit to a journal, someone else have to review that work. And if you don't review for others, so who must review for you? So it's part of academic citizenship, and that is very very important. Then when we talk of the visibility, we are talking about that the work, it's your contribution, your research contribution, they can be easily discoverable by other researchers, potential collaborators, institutions, and other funding bodies. And when it's visible in Web of Science, and also on Publons as well, that will increase your academic reputation and networking opportunities as well. Right? So in other words, your profile, it can showcase not only the publications, but also the peer review and editorial contributions, which in turn give a more complete picture of your academic activity, that you are doing, your work and your academic activity. So that is the sort of the benefits of being on using the researcher ID as well. Then there's also within the Web of Science as well, there's also author identifier tables as well that are linked to the researcher ID, where in a way you can expand it to show authors who have claimed a particular publication. So if someone have claimed your publication, then you can see that. Right. So in a way, it displays the researcher ID with hyperlink to Publon's profile and publication list as well. So you can see if someone have claimed your work, then you can see who have claimed it. Then it also display the ORCID ID if it's linked to the publication as well. So all that improves transparency and accuracy of author records. So the author identifiers tables that are associated with the research ID as part of the Web of Science. So this is just a comparison of the two, ORCID versus the research ID, where the scope, I will look at the scope, provider, cost, focus, and integration. Like I think during the course of the conversation, I've mentioned that the ORCID is a global multi platform, right? Where is the research ID? It's a Web of Science ecosystem, or within the operates within functions within the web of science only. It's not global. Then the like the provider for ORCID is a non-profit. It's independent. For the research ID, we all know Web of Science is a commercial entity, and the Clarivate is the one that provided, which is commercial. Then the ORCID is free. Also, the research ID is free. The focus for ORCID is on identity and integration, whereas for research ID, citations and metrics, right, including if it's linked to Publons focus on review, on your review activities. Then the ORCID, in terms of integration, publishers, funders, and any other systems, including institutional systems. Then the research ID is linked with the Web of Science and ORCID, as well as Publons as well, right? Then how do you register for ORCID? So for those who are not having an ORCID profile, then I'll just go with you the steps. Yes, I took this directly from the ORCID website. So this is the website that you go to, www.orcid.org. Then you can create a free account there. Then you have to add profile information, education, employment, your work. Then you can connect your ORCID to publishers, databases, and your institution. How do you connect it? It's when you register on the site, then you provide that you have an ORCID ID. In your papers, you also include the ORCID ID as well. So that's how you link it with your other with other publishers and other databases, including institutions as well. And we will see that even on our emails, we do put our profile when you sign on your sign off there on your signature. Then we include it as part of the signature as well, so that even when you send email, if someone wants to check my profile, they see it as well. So that's another form of a way in which you can sort of increase the visibility and market yourself through your researcher ID. So I include on mine. I include the Google Scholar profile. I also include the ORCID the ORCID ID as well. So that is important. You don't have to put everything that your signature now become like now the large part of the email now it consists of your signature. So maybe only those two are really maybe sort of enough or important, because you just have to make sure that your publications, they are up to date on all the across those the platforms that you have chose to include. So this is how you create your ORCID ID. So the text is a bit smaller, but these slides will also be shared with you so that you can you'll be able to maybe zoom and also follow, if you cannot see well, but I'm sure that it must be visible also from your side, though the text is smaller, just as it is from the way that we see it from the website. Okay, so this is where the process of registering. So if you go on the home page of ORCID, then you will see, when you go on how to register, on your far left there, where the one that is highlighted green, how do I register for an ORCID ID? Then it will take you through the steps that are linked to the ORCID registration form. Then this is where you can see the process is consisting of multi steps, where you start with your names and emails, your password, your current employment, your visibility, and the terms and conditions. Remember, if you do not conform to the terms and conditions, then sometimes you cannot register, you cannot use the system if you do not agree to the terms and conditions. So these are the registration fields that you see and that you are supposed to fill out. So so all required fields that are not completed or requires attention, they will be highlighted in red as you continue, right? Then you can also see the icon next to any field. For more information, you can click that if there's that eye, which means information. So we have step one where you insert your names and emails, so all your given names is required. So you get that information. So you put your name there. After that, you also move to your family name, which is optional. That's your family, your surname or your last name. It's not a required field, as ORCID is a global service and it also supports many naming conventions, but you should always include it if you have one. So remember, your ID, it's not linked to your name or your papers are linked. Your research is linked to the ID rather than to your name and your surname. But that sort of enhance the discoverability of your work and identity or attribution of your work to yourself as the researcher. So you are also told of which parts are compulsory and which parts are not compulsory, right? So as in which ones are optional, which ones are not optional. Then you also have to put your email address, your primary email address, which is required. So your primary email address, you enter it twice for confirmation. You use your email address or ORCID ID with your password to sign into the ORCID registry. So that's when we are now. So you have to provide your email that you are going to be using when you are signing into the ORCID register or platform. So you repeat it. It will be a repeat after you put it. Then it will ask you to re-enter the email address as well as a form of confirmation. Then you can also add the additional email. It's strongly recommended, but not sort of optional. So you can also put another, which is a secondary or backup email address. So normally used when you forget the email that you used, or you forget your password, then they can send to your primary primary email address that you would have to your secondary email address that you would have you have provided rather than to your primary. So this is optional, but you have an option of adding it. Then these are some errors that you can get, email error messages where you can get that an account already exists. So which means that that account, your email that you've provided already have an account that is linked to the email. So in other words, you cannot create a second account using the same email address. So you need another email, or you can reset your password to restore access to the original account. That is if you have lost access. So it normally happens to those who were already registered on the profile, but then maybe possibly for some reason you lose the credentials that you use to log in, but you can reset your password. You cannot use the same email to create another profile. Then also a deactivated record exists. So where you see this warning message if your email address is associated with a previously deactivated ORCID record. So when you are faced with this, you can request a link to reactivate the account and the email address on record. Right. So there's also steps for how you can where you can learn about deactivating an ORCID account as well. Then an unclaimed record exists where this warning will normally pop up if an account associated with your email address was previously created for you by your institution. So some institutions, they can maybe create a profile for you. Then you can request a message to activate the record by clicking the resend the claim email link, or by entering your address at resend claim email. So this is where maybe that in cases where that the institutions are no longer permitted to okay, they note that the institutions now, they are no longer permitted to create records for their researchers. So this is something maybe that would have happened prior, but it would affect maybe a small number of people. Then moving on to the password, then you have to set your password, a password of your choice. You enter it twice to confirm. Then there's also other sort of rules that relates to the strength of the password, 8 characters long, contain at least one number or one alphabetical character and so on. So you put that, then you put your password, then you confirm the password. You can see that as you put it, then it will be ticking these this on the circles to indicate that now you have satisfied this, you have certified that. So when you have finished everything, then you can re-enter your password. If it's the same, then you can now it will be captured as the password that you'll be using. Then the organization as well. So where we are now talking of current employment, which is an optional step as well, where you list your organization, the name of your current employer, department, the role that you are in, and your start date as well. But this is optional. So usually if you enter an institutional email address in step 1, then the system will automatically suggest an employment affiliation based on the email domain that you would have provided, right? So then now we can now move on to the step where you are now creating your ID. That's from within step 3 up to 5, where we are talking of current employment. So there it will automatically pick that you have an affiliation if you for your current employment. So if you provide institutional email, so for example, here speaking New York University, maybe it's an example that just came from there. Then the department, then role of or job, then you can input that, then the start date and so on. So if this is correct, then you can accept that. Then from there you can move on to the next step. But if the organization is correct, then you fill out the other fields that you desire. Then you just click next step, right? But if you want to remove that, let's say if the organization is incorrect, then you just click on that X that is there to so that the name must be removed. Then you can either enter your correct organization on your own, or you can skip the step without adding any affiliation. But if also an affiliation has not been suggested, you have to manually enter in the organization field as well. And it's important to always link your profile to your institution as well, that you'll be working for at that particular stage. So you are able to skip the process as well, like I'm saying. So because the adding current employment, it's not mandatory. Right. But if your organization is not listed, and if you do not wish to add your current employment, you can just click on on next, then without having to add. So that way it's saying skip this step without adding affiliation. So that will take you to step 4 of visibility, where you can set the visibility settings as well. That's where who do you want your research to be visible to, right? So so usually you can select the default visibility setting for any information that you or trusted parties add to your ORCID record. But the recommendation is that they recommend that you choose everyone or trusted parties as your default visibility setting. That will enable your information to be shared with the systems that you interact with, allowing you to benefit from their ORCID integrations. But remember, as you restrict it, that also affects the visibility of your research and discoverability of the research as well. So the recommendation is everyone, right? You can also see they are even changing the color to red, where if you say only me, then it's only you who is going to be able to access that the research that you would have put. So you find that 87% they use this recommended one, where they choose everyone can see their items that are on the profile. Then we have 5% who choose trusted parties only. So where only people and organizations that you give permission can see the items you enter on the profile. Then also, if you say only me, about 8% choose this, where items are private and only visible to yourself, right? So I haven't explored to see whether each item you can change the visibility on each item, like maybe what we do when we upload on YouTube, that you can say maybe this is unlisted, this is private, or this is public. So I'm sure that is also an option that is possible. Then the fifth part, terms and conditions. You have to accept the terms and conditions. Otherwise, if you do not accept the terms and conditions, terms of use, then if you do not tick the boxes, then you are not able to register. But that is your preference. If you feel that you do not accept the terms of use, then you are free to do so, but you won't be able to be registered on the system. So I don't really understand terms and conditions well, so it's like you have no choice. If you do not agree with that, then you can't use it, but if you want to use it, then you have to agree. So in a way, it's like you are forced to agree because you want to use the service. So you have to consent to the privacy policy in terms of use and agree to your data being publicly accessible where marked as visible to everyone. So then you click there. I consent to my data being processed in the United States. Then you have to also click there because the ORCID is based in United States. Then human confirmation as well. You also have to put that you must demonstrate that you are not a robot. So you just go and tick there. Sometimes it also give other sort of checks, like where they give you pictures. They are asked to select maybe where there's a robot or where there's pictures where there are stairs or where there's a bicycle. I think we have seen this before. Then if you have confirmed and sure that you are not a robot, then you can complete the registration. Then there's also tips and features email that are optional. So if you tick, then you will be receiving the ORCID tips and features emails. So that those are emails that you are subscribing to receiving the email. So after you confirm that you are not a robot, then you can complete the registration profile. I'll show you how the profile looks as we proceed. Then so this is how you can use your ORCID ID. You can use it for your institutional profiles, for your CVs, and your email signatures. I've already spoke about that. I add, if you go on my profile for the institution, it's also there. If you go on my CV, I have my ORCID ID. If you go on my email signature, I also have my ORCID ID, because that's where I want maybe if anyone wants to see my profile, my research profile, then they can visit my ORCID profile. Then you can also it's used in journal submissions as well, in grant applications, posters, presentations, websites. So anyway, you must put your ORCID ID so that people can easily discover you and can also link the research that should be attributed to you to yourself. You can use the QR code generator as well. That is in your ORCID profile for quick sharing as well. So if you go on ORCID, you are able to generate a QR code that you can share for others to just scan the QR code and view your profile. Then important to encourage others as well. Like I've said before, that the more ORCID is adopted, the stronger the system also become. Like I'm marketing for ORCID. but that will also strengthen the system itself. Then how you create your Web of Science account. Like I said, the Web of Science Research ID, the one by Clarivet, it's linked to your Web of Science profile. So this is how you create your Web of Science profile. You go to their website, Web of Science .help.clarivet.com /content/registration. So you can see I've clicked here where it's blue, where it says registration and sign in. So this is the process of how you register, how you sign in. So first you have to register to sign into the Web of Science to take full advantage of its features. To sign in, you click in from the top menu bar of any page in the Web of Science. So there it will say you'll get where it will say register. If you just go to any Web of Science page, then you type your email address and password and click sign in if you are already having it, right? Just that is to sign in. If you already have a profile, if you do not have, then you must register for a profile. If you're a new user, you have to register for a profile. You click register from also the top of any page, Web of Science page. Then you type your email address and click register there, right? So you get an email with a verification code that you will be sent to the address that you would have provided. If you don't see the email in your primary email folder, then you can check your spam folder as well, all right, or the junk folder. Okay, so that is the sort of if you go on the Web of Science platform, but also the other steps. So these are the first and second steps. Then the third one, when you are registering, you have to copy the verification code that you receive in an email that is sent to you. Then you paste the verification code in the that field, the verification code field. Then you click submit code. Then when you submit, then you can now be able to complete all the fields on the account setup page and click register to complete the whole registration. These are the password requirements. So in terms of password requirements, they require that these are the guidelines: 8 or more characters, no spaces, at least one numeral, 0 to 9, at least one alpha character, case sensitive, at least one symbol. Then they consider this to be a stronger password. So you have to conform to this. And why is it important that you register on the Web of Science platform? So when you register, you are taking advantage of all these convenient features, like automatically signing in every time that you access Web of Science. You selecting a starting application that enables you to start your session in a specific database rather than on all the databases, within the within the tabs that are on Web of Science, as well as you are able to update your personal information, including the email and password, save searches to your server for later, if you want to open them later or when you resume your search. Also setting up search history alerts as well, where you automatically receive alert to searches that searches the last update to the database, right? Then set up citation alerts as well, where an email is sent to you when an article on your citation alerts list is cited by a new article. So I think I also receive some from there as well. But that feature requires a subscription to Web of Science, where you create and maintain a custom. It can also allow you to create and maintain a custom journal list. It also requires subscription to current contents that you would want to connect to. You can add preference to your EndNote as well, online library direct from Web of Science, and other product databases as well. Remember, it's also linked to ORCID as well. I think I've also gone through that before. So these are some other platforms as well that we have which are also where you can also create your researcher ID, the ORCID, which provides unique persistent identifier for researchers. We have talked about that. Then there's the link to the ORCID. Then the researcher ID of Web of Science, provided by Clarivate, which track publications, citations, and peer review activity with Web of Science integrated with Publons. Then I've also provided a link for Publons as well. Then I've provided the link for during when I was presenting as well for researcher for Web of Science, where you can register on Web of Science. Then there's also Scopus author ID as well. There's the link. It automatically generated by Scopus links authors to their publications and citation metrics in Scopus database. So it's useful for citation tracking and author disambiguation, where we don't want to be confused as who the author is. So for Scopus, there's automatic issue that it's automatically generated by Scopus, links authors to their publications and citation metrics, and it's useful for citation tracking and author disambiguation. Then Google Scholar Profile, showcasing publications and citation metrics, tracking metrics like H-index, I-10 index, and citations. So in other words, Google Scholar, it calculates this automatically. It will, in a way, assisting you to monitor your academic influence. When we talk about the H-index, on Google Scholar, we are simply referring to it's a measure of productivity and impact, right? So as a researcher, when you have an H-index, if they say your H-index is, let's say maybe, for example, a particular number, let's call the number H, right? So what it means is that you have H papers that have been cited at least H times. So if you have an H index of 5, it means you have maybe 5 papers that have at least been cited 5 times or more, right? Then we also have the I-10 index, indicating those papers that you are having on the database that have been cited at least 10 times or more. So these are just some sort of productivity metrics, right? Then we in terms of Scopus, I've also mentioned that they automatically generate it and so on. I've mentioned the Google Scholar profile, then the Publons profile. The one of Publons tracks peer review and editorial contributions, and it's integrated with the Research ID and Web of Science, right? So any work that you do for peer review and so on. Then there's also Dimensions Researcher ID, which identifies researchers in Dimensions database, links to publications, grants, patents, and citations. Then site profiles as well, which consolidate researcher profiles, ORCID, Scopus, and other identifiers for enhanced visibility. I also have one, because even if when I go to my my ORCID ID, then the site profile also appears. There's another ID that I'm having. Right. So these are just an example of the ORCID ID. It must also be up to date. I also have to update mine because it still says I work at Northwest Department of Education. Okay, these are just, but it's sort of showing that as my current, but that is just a list of employment and so on, in terms of the personal details that you would have are provided. Then it will also have your publications as well. As you go on, then it will be having the list of publications that it would have where you have published on platforms that are linked to your research ID. So your papers will appear here. But if they don't appear, then you can insert them manually yourself. So you have to make sure that you keep it up to date. Then we also have the this is my my profile as well, for the one that is linked to site profile. So if you go there, you will see here it says that I have other ideas. Then the site profile 1787-457, which is my ID. Right. So if you go there, this is the ID. It's linked to ORCID. The information came from ORCID. Then you can see the other papers that I've contributed to that also are appearing here, where I'm also some I'm a co-author, some I'm the I'm maybe the sole author as well. So they will appear on my site profile. Then I also have the okay, so that is the ORCID. Let me just go back. Okay, that is the ORCID profile. Then this is the Google Scholar profile as well. So I think you can see the on the citations, then the H index is there, the I-10 index. So showing papers with at least 5 citations, then there are 7 papers, then at least uh, 10 citations, then there are 5 papers. So if you also go on the profile, you will just see that. So I used my profile. There are others with profiles that are far richer than the one that I have, but I have to use mine because I want to so that I don't use someone else's work without having to seek permission. So these so then they also list co-authors as well, your citation metrics as well, and so on. So this is Google Scholar profile. You can add the papers here. You can add them manually if they are not automatically picked by Google Scholar, but usually it's automatically picked. Once it's published, then it's published in a journal that is indexed on Google Scholar. They need to automatically populate that. I see a hand from Gumbi. Let me allow your mic. I think your mic has been allowed. You can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Thank you so much. I had actually posted it on chat. I just wanted to ask, how does one link their Google Scholar profile with the ORCID?
With the ORCID?
Yes.
So okay, I haven't seen sort of a way that you can link the two, but usually where if Google Scholar itself, some of these once they must be automatically linked in a way, because I see my papers, some of my papers that appear, it will show that the paper has also been listed on ORCID as well. So I don't think you do it manually, but automatically there's an integration between Google Scholar and the and ORCID. So is Web of Science and also other like maybe Scopus as well, other indexing agents as well. So there must be an integration across. But in the case that does not happen, your article has not been picked up, then you just have to enter it manually also on Google Scholar. I've done so for some papers where but that's a reflection that the journal that you've published in is poorly indexed, right? If that your paper does not appear here, because it means it cannot be picked automatically picked by Google Scholar. But if it's on the indexing databases like Scopus, Web of Science, then automatically they will pick it. It will be picked. So there's an integration between the two. So is ORCID as well. Thank you. Let me proceed. Okay, so this is the profile, including the co-authors. We have co-authored some that I've co-authored with. So you can also add the co-authors as well yourself manually. Right. right? Then, because if you say add, if you go and add there, there's it will give you an option of adding manually, or it will give you also an option where if you click on it, it will show all the articles that Google Scholar is recommending that you can claim as yours. Then you, if it's yours, surely then you just click on it, then it will appear on your profile. You are also able to merge the papers as well. Like if you see my thesis, it's on one here on the paper that says developing a product level prioritization method for bilateral trade negotiation. It's the main paper from my thesis. So my thesis is actually inside this paper. So you can see the citations there. There's a star, which means some of the citations are coming from my thesis and some of the citations come from my paper. But I don't want people to refer to the thesis first. They must refer to the publication that I published from the thesis. Then, but in the event that they just refer to the thesis on its own, then all the citations are also grouped as one. So you are able to merge. If you click two articles or three articles, then the merge button will, the merge icon will appear. Then you just click on merge. Then it will merge for you. Okay, so this is Google Scholar. Then we also have the, besides Google Scholar, the Web of Science. Web of Science, I have forgotten if I have an account there, but I'm sure I just didn't have time to go and to try to look for it and check if I have a profile that exists there. But it's important that you also register. So this is what I was talking about, that if you go on any Web of Science page, then you are able to register. There's a register on the site, or you can sign in if you have a profile. So I'm yet to check if I'm having a profile there. But it's very important for visibility of your research. I'm also a researcher who is still growing as well. I also need to make use of these platforms to disseminate my research so that your citation count increase, the impact of your research also increase. So I'm also going to go and make use of these tools that I'm also referring to within this presentation. Then these are just some strategies for best practice that I can share with you as researchers, both upcoming or even if you are a seasoned researcher. Remember, some seasoned researchers, they are still like also too traditional and they don't adopt these such of these sort of digital tools. But like I've said, it's now even more important than ever that we adopt this, and as it enhance the visibility of our research and the discoverability of our research, as well as enables us to efficiently disseminate the research that we are having. So it's important that you register on both ORCID and Researcher ID and other platforms. Like I've showed you, I think I'm already on I've showed you ORCID, I've showed you Google Scholar, I've showed you the site profile. Then I also have others like ResearchGate, Academia. But you should make sure that they are all. Remember, the more you have, the more you must also be attentive to make sure that all of them, your information is up to date or across those tools or those sort of platforms. But also some of them, they are sort of linked. So if you update on one, then it's also sort of integrated with the other platform. So it's important that you keep your profiles updated. New publications, you have to update new publications, institutional affiliations, positions, promotions, any grants, awards, funding that you have received. So that will, the benefit is that it ensures accurate attribution of your work, and also increased discoverability by peers, collaborators, and funders. providing an accurate representation of your research impact, and the status showing that you are still active in research. Because if your profile is quiet, we see things of 2020, then we might even think that maybe you did not make it out of COVID, and so on. So your profile must show that you are still alive and you are still active within the field. Otherwise, we would think that you are no longer there, or you have stopped the research, you have retired, and so on. So all that confusion should be at most allayed. Then the issue of linking your research identifiers as well. You connect ORCID ID to your research ID, to your Scopus author ID, to institutional repositories, to university research profiles, your email signatures, So all that will assist with synchronizing publication records across platforms. One, reducing duplicate entries and errors in citations as well, streamlining manuscript submission, reporting, and grant applications as well. Remember, you can also use your ORCID consistently in all your research workflows. ORCID, I always use it because even if you submit, they ask for your ORCID ID. So it's important that you include it in your journal article submissions, grant applications, conference registrations, and institutional and departmental profiles, right? So the impact of using it consistently, it will ensure that your research outputs, they are correctly attributed, even if your name changes or if there are other name variations, right? In a way, helping you to maintain a central record of your scholarly attribution and supporting accurate citation metrics and visibility in the academic community. And just some other additional tips that you can also take into consideration, always regularly verifying publication and citations for accuracy. You must go through your publications list and just check if they're accurate. Then also engaging with the academic community through your profile to highlight collaborations, and sometimes also considering adding keywords or research areas to enhance discoverability. Then keeping ORCID private settings, it's appropriate for your comfort and visibility needs as well. So you have to also check them, then to also make your research to be visible depending on your aims and your objectives as a researcher. So in conclusion, the ORCID ID and research ID, including other IDs that I've mentioned, they are essential tools for your academic visibility, for recognition, and for career progression, right? So how they help you as a researcher, reducing administrative burden, ensuring accurate attribution, enhancing discoverability and impact. All these things I've sort of extensively looked at them and spoke about them during the course of the presentation. And with this, I'm also closing with a call to action where I'm saying you must register for ORCID. If you don't have it, at least you must have ORCID. You use it if you plan to have a career in academics, or you aspire to be a researcher, or you are an emerging researcher or a seasoned researcher. If you do not have the ID, register for ORCID ID. Then link that ID with your research ID and other platforms like Google Scholar or any platform where you can link those IDs that allows you to integrate them with other profiles. Then you have to do that. That will ensure that your publication record, your citation metrics, and peer review contributions are synchronized, right? And remember to keep your profile current by regularly updating your IDs, your research IDs that you have. Could it be ORCID, your research ID, or your Google Scholar, you have to update it with new publications, affiliations, funding, and other professional activities, so that ensures that your digital identity remains accurate, complete, and up to date for peers, for evaluators, and for institutions. And with this, I leave you with the links to the ORCID and Web of Science, the Clarivate Web of Science. You can visit these links. You can use them when you want to register to be on these platforms or tools as your researcher ID, platforms or tools. And I'm now heading back to Ms. Pilar to usher us into the open discussion segment. Thank you.
Dr. Gabriel, this was a very insightful session and very detailed, and we truly appreciate the effort that you've taken to actually show us how to, register to have an ORCID number. So we are going to now open the floor for questions, and I'm just gonna give me 2 minutes while I allow everyone's mic. So that when you have a question, you can just unmute and then ask your question. Just 2 minutes while I do that. Perfect. So all the mics are allowed. So I see some questions on the chats first. Tando, I have noted your hand. Let me just start with the chat first. There is Macmillan who said, I am kindly requesting for ORCID registration. I joined late. Thank you. And there's Ompa who's also saying how to register for ORCID. So I think Dr. Gabriel has shared the steps that we need to follow for you to register on ORCID, but Dr. Gabriel, maybe you can respond to the questions.
Okay. Okay. You said this is from
Macmillan and Ompa. I think the questions are just almost the same, so just to address.
Okay, the one for Gumbi, I've answered it verbally. I'm currently requesting for ORCID or registration, joint led. Okay, let me. Okay, before I close, I will also put the link in the. When I stop sharing, I'll put the link in the chat. Those two links, those are sort of the references that are provided at the end, because I've provided it for you. It's here. These are the links that you go to, but I can also I will just copy them and paste them there so that those who want to just directly click, they can do so. Then how to register for ORCID. I've gave all the instructions. So I actually think maybe possibly. Okay, I will share because the directives are also there on the website, because I was just taking that straight from the ORCID website. But I will share with you the links. Then you can click and be able to register on ORCID yourself, and the slides will be shared with you as well, so that you will be able to navigate through the process if you want to use the slides, and also the recording will be shared with you. I think today that will be done today, just after the workshop. Then we'll work on making sure that the resources are available. Okay, so let's go to the end of Tando.
Yes, you can unmute Tando and ask your question.
Morning, everyone. I have two questions here. I want to ask how to connect works of publications on ORCID. Let's say, for instance, how to connect works on ORCID from scratch with a clean profile. For instance, as to say, where do you peruse, where do you paste, where do you all of that. Also, my second question, I've participated in another book writing in terms of writing chapters. So now I was requested to to link with my ORCID ID. I didn't know how to do so, hence I'm asking.
Okay, you said you participated in
In a book chapter writing.
or you contributed.
Yes, I contributed in book chapter
Okay.
writing. So
Okay.
now, yes, they requested me to link it with my ORCID, and I
Okay.
didn't know how to go about that.
Yeah. So usually the how it goes with ORCID is that if you provide your ORCID ID within that publication, right,
Yes.
then it's automatically going to pick it. Right.
Okay.
But in the event that it doesn't pick it, you input it manually yourself.
Okay.
Right. So if you go to ORCID, you are able to enter your like a publication. You are able to enter it manually. So you just say you are able to put the title. It gives you fields that it requires. Then maybe title. Then you put the title and other requirements. Then you add the that particular research output to your profile yourself, because it works with the link, and it normally links it with the ID being present in the work that you are doing. And also some other databases as well, where your work will be let's say maybe it's a book. But remember, when you publish, you will see that your paper it will start appearing in different platforms.
Okay.
That's indexing. It's automatic. I have it can show maybe that your paper has 10 versions, which means it's actually in maybe 10 websites where it is. So that's the indexing part.
Okay.
So other indexing agents are able to access the paper, then it will automatically be on their platforms. Though there are other platforms that do that, but they end up like selling the research. Maybe yet the research was published open access. Then they take it, then they are now selling it. So that is some other unscrupulous practices that can also happen with that. But the indexing is something that is automatic. For ORCID, your ORCID ID must exist as part of your author ID within the publication itself. Otherwise, you have to manually do it.
Okay. So
So I think even if you go online, if you say maybe just or even on YouTube, if you say how to manually add an article or a research output on ORCID, you get videos that demonstrate that.
Okay. Also, I want to find out that so on ORCID, you can't link unpublished journal articles, right?
Okay, depending on what you can, because only it's your profile. You can enter your research that you have done, including even if it's unpublished. I'm sure I've never tried to link unpublished though. But there are other platforms, like for example ResearcherGate. You can put even an article that you did not publish, and people start seeing it. Some people can even cite it as an unpublished work as well. But once you get it published, then if you use the same title and everything is the same, then you can even link the citations to your current published paper as well.
Oh, okay. Thanks a lot.
All right. Let me lower the end of Tando and just check, Miss Pilar. You can check if there's any other questions. I don't see questions, but let's hear from the participants. Maybe if there's no questions, then we can move on to concluding the session.
Yes, Dr. Gabriel, there are no more questions on the chat. The questions that are there are the ones that you have already responded to, and I don't see any other hands that are up. So I think everyone was very clear on the workshop. Everything that you have explained and mentioned was very clear. So I'll just give the last round of questions. Do you have any more questions that we would want to ask Dr. Gabriel? This is the opportunity to engage. And while maybe we're still thinking of some of the questions that we want to ask, just to remind everyone that there's a feedback form on the chats. please can you take a few minutes to complete the feedback form. And also just to say that the workshop, the recording and the PowerPoint presentation will be shared before the end of today. So you can look out for that. And also we have a seminar later on today, which is titled Women in Research, Breaking Barriers and Shaping the Future. Please join us for that seminar as well. It's going to be taking place at 1 o'clock until 3 o'clock, right here on Teams as well. So please join us for that seminar and engage with us. Just to confirm for the last time, are there any questions? I see
Ms.
Dr.
Tina,
Gabriel has put some link. Yes, Dr. Gabriel?
I wanted to indicate that I've also put those links there. Thank you for announcing.
Okay, thank you. Yes, thank you for pasting the links also on the chat for everyone to access and navigate through the site and trying to register. So we can do that. You can just click on the link and then proceed with the registration process to those who want to register for ORCID. So if there are no more questions and no hands that are up, so we can then conclude the session. Thank you very much, Dr. Gabriel, for this very insightful and detailed session. We have really learned a lot on how to register for ORCID and the importance of having like a unique number. And thank you very much for taking your time to come in and present this session. And to all those that have participated and who joined us for this session, thank you very much for taking your time and joining the session, engaging with us as well. We truly appreciate it. Please keep on joining our workshops. We hope that they are very beneficial to you as researchers, upcoming researchers, scholars, and all the titles that we have. Thank you very much. And if there are no more questions and there are no hands that are up as well, we can then conclude the session. See you in the afternoon for the seminar that will be taking place. Thank you very much and have a good day further.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.